Hello Hattrickers. The question is, should we just remove non-spec players from the game? I know it sounds radical, but let's have a look at some of the issues with spec players and how we can address them. So at the moment we're basically excluding half the players off the pool because most managers building to compete at the top don't use non-spec players, or they use them to such an extent that they are almost not viable. This means that we have less supply of the best players, meaning these will be very expensive as the highest allowed figure from the board without a financial director. We don't really have a meaningful choice when it comes to picking a non-spec player, because the only time you'll do so is if you cannot find a spec player worthy of the space in your team. Okay, so in order to back my argument, I started looking at lineups in the top flight in Denmark, Norway and Sweden. And I also went to the second tiers in order to check all the lineups in the last competitive matches. I did not look at goalkeepers, and I only looked at the players in the field at the end of the match, just to make it a little easier. Here's the numbers I found. So in the top flight in Denmark, you'd only see 0.0 non-spec players in the field. In Sweden that's 2, but there was a heavy outlier with one team fielding 7 non-spec players. In Norway this number was 1.4. In the second tier in Denmark you would see 1.2 non-spec players in the field in average, and in Sweden that number was 1.9. At level 2 in Norway this number was 1.8. In order to investigate a little further, I also looked at the national team level and at the under 21s. At the national team level it was basically no non-spec players in the squads. I've marked the one average for the under 21s as well, because it was a heavy outlier with one team fielding 7 non-spec players. The way I looked at the international teams was I looked at the top 15 ranked teams and the last competitive lineups used. Hattrick has tried to address this issue by adding a 10% increased wages to specialty players. But the fact remains that I've never heard a manager that needed to change the approach because of this change. And I've heard experienced managers saying that top competitive managers will always choose to pay this 10%. So how are the spec issues connected to other issues in Hattrick? Well, we only use half the players, meaning we have a decrease in supply in the very best players. That means the prices are inflated, and that means that we have to store monies in different ways and circumvent the financial director system, leading to hoarding issues and, well, strange tactics that some people don't like. It should be more transparent, really. So how are we solving this problem with half the players being worthy? Well, we could remove the non-specialists, we could spawn less specialists, we could boost non-specialists, or we could convert the specs to trainable side skills. These are 4 examples of ways to change the current situation. If we look at removing the specs, we would have more relevant players to more managers. Of course, it would be a gradual change, meaning it would be a phase out of the current system with non-spec players present. We could spawn less spec players. That would decrease the number of spec players, and obviously forcing managers to use more non-spec players in the team. While this would increase the non-spec player value, it could also lead to a heavy spike in spec player values. So it could be that we'd get more non-spec players into the squads, but the absolute peak of player value rising for the relevant specs. We could also boost non-spec players, and we could give them a skill boost, for instance, a little like loyalty. Not in the way that it's accumulated, but in the way it's applied to all the skills. We could also decrease the wages of non-spec players. But again, you saw the increase in specialty player wages, and it hasn't really changed much. Even though it's kind of a new change still, we simply don't see anyone trying to change the approach. The final and more visionary and complex solution would be to convert specialties to trainable side skills. It could be something that's capped with the potential, a little like the youth team skills, and it should be capped at formidable, for instance. The way we could convert these would be to give non-spec players an average of 4, for instance, and then having specialty players having an average of 3 and 5 in pace if they're a quick player, or 5 in heading, 5 in technique, 5 in strength for that matter. A complex way of changing things, and frankly not a solution I really believe in, it would mean that the Hattrick developers would have to change the entire match simulation system as well. It would be such an enormous change to the game, so I think it's probably not possible. So what direction am I hoping for the most? I'm mostly hoping for the boost of the non-spec players, simply because I hope we could see non-spec players being more relevant to all builds and at all levels, and perhaps boosting the skill level like a little like loyalty is a way to do this. The question remains though, how good would a non-spec player have to be in order for you to put them in a key position? What are your thoughts? Do we even need to change this? What change would you prefer? Do you have additional ideas? Let me know in the comments below. This is M4Q bringing you Hattrick related content directly to your YouTube feed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.